go, yo. One time for your mind. You know we ball all day. Just know we talk ball all day. Welcome to the full court press. Full court press. We got Danny Thompson on the mic, so just chill with the set. Ball all day. Just know we talk ball all day. Welcome to the full court press. Full court press. We got Danny Thompson on the mic, so just chill with the set.
We are 1 week away from the NBA season. It is now October 20th, 2015. This is Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC on the new FM 96.9 The Game. I'm your host, Danny Thompson, checking in to you tonight live from Orlando, Florida. And for the next 2 hours, we're taking up your airways with some of the best, brightest NBA personalities, beat writers, bloggers, and anybody talking NBA, because we're less than a week away from the season. If you want to check in with me and the crew tonight, 407-916-8255 is the number here in Orlando, or toll-free 800-729-8255 if you're calling in nationally. Like I said, my crew tonight, of course, is always the dynamic duo, starting to my main man to the right, the editor-in-chief of NBAFCPRadio.com, my main man, Paul Myers. Paul, what's going on, man?
I believe I'm slightly more dynamic than Mark, but it's okay. I got love for Mark. But yeah, everything's great today, man. Ready to do a good show.
And speaking of the other member of the team, the third member of the triangle, also the social media manager of NBAFCPRadio.com, as well as our NBA draft expert, calling out of the 215 area code, my main man, Mark Johnson. Mark, how you doing?
I would say something to Paul, about what he just said. But you know what? It's some things going on in Philly. It could be a shakeup with management. I'm actually happy about that.
All right. Well, glad I caught you in a good mood then.
Hopefully Mark takes over some part of the scouting or the drafting for the Sixers, because we all know they still don't have a clue as we get 1 week to the season. Or in Mark's case is 1 week away till we start counting down until the lottery selections next year.
Exactly.
So tonight, what we're going to do is with the final two divisions we are previewing tonight, Tamblyn Richardson will be on at about 9:20ish, talking about basically the Northwest Division. She's from Space City Scoop, and we're talking everything Northwest Division, so all Thunder fans, as well as Nuggets fans, Jazz fans, Blazers fans, and the Timber Pups, or the Timberwolves. If you're a big fan of those teams, check on it, listen up, and call in. Like I said, if you have any questions, we'll go over all those types of things. In hour number 2, our good friend Cody Taylor of Basketball Insiders will actually be in studio with me and Paul tonight, talking about everything Pacific Division. So all your Kobe fans, Clippers fans, the Kings, the Suns, and the defending champion Golden State Warriors. If you're fans of those teams, check us out, call in, and ask your questions for the panel tonight. So
Kobe is not the Lakers, man. Give the team credit. It's the Lakers. It's not the Los Angeles Kobe's. So
I mean, honestly, Mark, if you're watching League Pass, do you really honestly care about Robert Sacre?
Well, I'm going to say like this. I don't, know. I mean, I know the kid has some talent. I know he has some trouble. He didn't really make a big splash, with, Summer League and, I guess, preseason or whatever. So, I mean, he's going to need some work. But if he gets it together, some teams are going to be, they're really going to have a fond on him. But he really has some work to do to get to that point.
Is Mark trying to justify Robert Sacre?
And the sad thing is, Mark is not a Lakers fan. So,
no, I was just very polite of Mark. He must be in a good mood, man. He's got to be.
He's got to be. Speaking of moods today, the NBA.com GM survey came out today. So basically what this is, for those who've never heard of it, they've done it for the last 13 years, is take and poll all the GMs around the NBA on certain topics. So we're going to take a quick look at some of these things they talked about over the next few minutes. And, guys, the GMs picked, and this is a 53% vote. Actually, they got 53% of the vote, was the Cleveland Cavaliers to win the NBA title. Now, mind you, the rules of this is that GMs cannot vote for their own players or their own teams or coaches. So 53% of the GMs in the NBA are picking the Cleveland Cavaliers to win the NBA championship. Now, Paul, Mark, I know we saw the commercial with TNT and the Cavs of LeBron and his journey. I'm going to start with Mark first. Do the Cavs have enough to help LeBron in his journey?
It's still a wait-and-see approach with me. I'm like, they added maybe a little bit of offense, not too much. So, I'm just like, it's almost the same team as last year. I know Mo Williams, was an addition, a subtraction with Tristan Thompson. So I think, it's kind of like almost the same team. I'm just like, if they're not, and they have to be healthy. I mean, it really depends on Kyrie Irving. I think, if Irving can stay healthy and actually, play, I think they can win. But I think it more depends on him than anybody else. And that's crazy to say, with LeBron James on the team. But, comes down to Kyrie Irving.
Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to health. I'm not going to specifically say Kyrie. I mean, obviously he is the main guy we're looking at when we say health, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I'll say health in general, man. I mean, they've got, Kevin Love's coming back from an injury. Mo Williams is a little farther along in his career. I mean, as players start to age, injuries start to be a factor. I mean, heaven forbid something happened to LeBron James. Something happens to him, they might as well, they can just write off the championship. So, my key concern, and I guess it's a concern for any team in the NBA, is health. If they stay healthy, I think that they do have a coin flip shot at winning the championship.
I'm going to make a prediction next week on Tuesday, from my champion and everything. But Cleveland, to me, it seems like it's just too easy.
That's the thing.
It seems like it's too easy for them to win the championship.
Well, get to the finals at least. It's almost uninhibited. They don't have anything standing in their way. I mean, what do we think? Miami possibly?
I mean, between Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington. I mean, there's a lot of.
Would you please stop bringing up Atlanta? I mean, I don't understand. We're not going to get deep into this, but Dan is the only person in America that thinks Atlanta has a shot at knocking off Cleveland.
I mean, you have to understand, Atlanta was a 60-win team last season. Yes, they lost to Amari Carroll, and, this is a team. It's kind of like they were built like the Spurs. They're just a team. There's no superstar on this team,
Which means they have no go-to guy.
Well, I mean,
which you need in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, Dennis Schroeder has taken that role.
Oh, my goodness.
You have Dennis Schroeder. I mean,
Mark,
Jeff T.
Please.
Al Horford.
Help me out here, man.
Paul Millsap. I'm not saying Atlanta is the team that's going to be the one that dethrones Cleveland. I'm just saying that there are teams in the East that can make this an interesting situation. For me, the team with the biggest threat in the East is Miami.
Right. And again, what's the key word there?
Amari Stoudemire's knees.
Well, health.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's health. It's Dwayne Wade. It's Amari Stoudemire. Chris Bosh. I mean, we're hoping is 100%. He's saying he's fine, but that's there's still a concern there, as there was with Peyton Manning when they talked about the neck. Oh, he's 100% good. Well, there's still a concern. There's a concern with Bosh. Whiteside has a
temper.
A temper, yeah. So I mean, other than that, I mean, they got young players. So I don't know. The key word there is
to me, I just look at it. I'm just like, all right, Cleveland. I mean, obviously they're the front runner in the East. I'm just like, can you make maybe a small case, for Chicago, for Miami? Sure, not a problem. But I'm just like, it's just something missing with those teams. Especially when it comes down to crunch time. Miami, Hassan Whiteside is really a force inside. When he's on the floor, Miami just doesn't have another player like that. Defensively, rebounding. I mean, if he gets in foul trouble or gets technical fouls and gets thrown out the game.
There it is.
It is open season in the paint. I really need to stress that because I was talking to a few Heat fans, a couple of days ago, and I'm just like, listen, if Whiteside's out the game, my whole game plan as a coach will be to attack the basket at will. And what could you do about it? Nothing. So, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem.
Well, if you look at the other teams on the list, San Antonio's at 25%. Golden State was 17.9%. Oklahoma State, the Thunder was 3.6%.
Kind of shocked by that one.
No love for Golden State as defending champions. The 17.9% was the lowest in the 13 years they've done this. So that just proves to me one thing, and I've been saying this in different places for the last 2-3 weeks, and even during the summer. I think Golden State's run to the championship should have an asterisk beside it because of the teams they played in the playoffs. For the most part, none of them were healthy.
I mean, that I don't think that deserves an asterisk.
I'm just saying.
I do.
I cast the side eye then.
I see what you're saying. It diminishes the value, perhaps, a touch. Mm-hmm. But I mean, come on, man. These guys, they played well in the playoffs, But again, you're correct. They didn't face Drew Holiday in the first round, didn't face Mike Conley in the second round. I mean, you're right. They had injury-plagued teams, but that doesn't diminish that they heck, even in the finals, but that doesn't diminish what they did, in my opinion. I understand what you're saying. Maybe to a slight degree you can say, okay, that was not the strongest championship run, but hey, man, they're champs and they deserved it.
Mark, all I'm saying is Cleveland's at full strength. Cleveland has Kyrie and Kevin Love.
Like this.
Does Golden State win that series?
No.
Golden State, right? First thing, Steve Kerr, I think this year will coach the team correctly. If you have 12 players on your team that all can play, you play all of them.
Not in the
okay?
playoffs.
Not in the playoffs.
That's something he didn't figure out till way later in the season, right? Look, man, you go 11 to 12 deep. Most teams go about 7 to 8. My 12 will take on your 8. Yeah, play them.
Yeah, but not in the playoffs, Mark. You got to play your horses in the playoffs.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Golden State, the reason why they were able to run up 67 wins and, and able to is because of their depth. When you're putting in a Leandro Barbosa fresh, against like somebody, a seventh man or a starter who's lagging, it's just like, look, he's going to be able to get a couple buckets off on you. And that's how Golden State plays. I understand it's not traditional. It's not short in the rotation like a usual Pat Riley to 6 or 7. I mean, this is how Golden State does things. I think they can win if they play that way. But if Steve Kerr tries to do a Pat Riley impersonation and shorten the rotation to 6 guys, and that's it, trust me, Golden State will be out in the first round. So, he has to play to the strength of the team. That's what he needs to do.
So basically, in the first 10 minutes of the show, guys, and ladies and gentlemen, Mark Johnson has given props to Robert Sacre and Leandro Barbosa in the first 10 minutes of the show and actually credited them as being solid players in the NBA. At this point, we can end the show right now and just call it a night. But you know what? We'll take it to another prediction they had. So you look at the MVP voting. They had LeBron James last year at almost 68% last year. This year is only 39%.
Right.
Anthony Davis has moved up to second on the list at 25%. Durant and James Harden both are at 10.7. The defending MVP, the returning MVP, Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook, were both at 7.1%. Guys, is LeBron James the MVP of the league this year?
Go ahead, Mark.
Yes. LeBron James is the best player in the league. He's the MVP. That it's really nothing to debate about with him being the best player in the league today. It's just nothing to debate about. He's the best.
I mean, I'm not going to argue that. I actually wrote a piece on this. I think that the value that LeBron James brings externally is just as great as it is on the court. I mean, look at these moves that were made in Cleveland last year. Do you think that was all done by the GM? I'm pretty sure that man LeBron James had a part in that. And for me, there's really no definitive guidelines as to how you grade an MVP. So, in my opinion, you take stuff like that into consideration. LeBron should have won it last year. I don't know that it's going to be the same this year because he already has players in place this year. So I can't take that external opinion. But I think the MVP this year, and I agree with you on this one, Danny, is Anthony Davis. I think he's gonna pull it out this year. I think he'll get his team to probably the 6th seed in the West, which is that's pretty good out there. So
it's like the second seed in the East.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now, and you guys can quote me on this. It'll be on the podcast later. You guys can do what you need to, and Chris, our super producer, you can go ahead and record this now and play it at the end of the season. LeBron James will be 3rd in the MVP voting for this is all said and done this year.
That's not surprising.
I think the guy secondly in the MVP voting will be James Harden of the Houston Rockets. I think it's Davis 1, Harden 2, LeBron 3, Kevin Durant 4. I think Harden is going to be so irritated that he did not win the MVP award last year.
Oh, he's going to come out guns blazing.
And I think the fact that he has Ty Lawson on his team this year.
That's why I think it hurts him a little bit.
No, I think it's going to be even
because
better.
That's what's hurt LeBron.
Well, no, the difference is that Harden doesn't have to do all the playmaking because one of the major issues with Harden last year was since he handled the ball so much, he had a lot of turnovers last year. The turnover numbers will go down. I think he'll make more plays, and he won't have to be the only person facilitating the offense most of the year.
We'll see.
I think because Lawson's a better point guard than Pat Beverly.